Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel, thank you. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Perfect World based on novel. So let's start. Han Yu's eyes lit up, immediately seeing through Long Haochen's intention. Clearly, if this group was heading out from the mountain, they would most likely be humans. But if they were headed for the mountain, the probability of them being demons would be much higher. Humans would after all rarely set defenses in this area. For this reason, regardless of whether these sudden troops are humans or demons, they were probably headed for a raid. The demonic eye lightly swayed its tentacles. Being a mental-type magical beast, its utility could sometimes be even greater than higher-ranked magical beasts. Being able to float, it simply flew without a care towards the place where he detected some presences. If one paid careful attention, he would realize that a slightly distorted area surrounding the body of the demonic eye. That was its mental fluctuations. With these, any scouting spell in contact with the area would react as if it was air, unable to register the slightest reaction, especially the ones launched from a distance. The demonic eye just returned. The whole process of scouting the whole area only took him about a quarter of an hour. On his return, without need for Han Yu to say anything, its huge eye let out a silver-white luster. Immediately, brilliant rays were shot in front of the group, revealing a scene in front of everyone's eyes. Seeing the scene, Han Yu was greatly startled. Oh, so you gained yet another ability upon evolving. It's actually able to store images. How great! The others couldn't help but sigh in awe before that sight, staring at it. Immediately, serious expressions appeared on their faces. The ones that appeared in the scene were demons. They were silently riding over the mountain, climbing over the demon-resisting mountain range. One could clearly see that among these demons, some were floating and dispersing distorted light waves all around them. They belonged to a small demon clan, called Demon Envoys. They specialized in mental attribute, but still couldn't compare to a commander-ranked demonic eye. Their cultivation, roughly, at the 4th step, made them capable of using a mental protective screen like demonic eye. Because the demonic eye surpassed them in cultivation by a great margin, despite both being mental attribute magical beast, he still discerned their presence clearly. The demon envoys numbered at least 30. Having fierce-looking ugly faces, they were about the size of human infants. Their mental fluctuation covered the entirety of the demon armies. These demon troops weren't huge, only roughly 5,000 in number. However, from Long Haochen's understanding of them, these were definitely elite troops. Aside from Demon Envoy, in the sky were demon carriers, sharp-tongued with large hollow bellies. Although they don't have many abilities for combat, their strength in restricting others was something Long Haochen's group saw and experienced personally. Back then, it was because of those that Tian Qing's King-grade demon hunt squad they had encountered nearly died when surrounded by the Zhak demons. Among the ground troops, roughly 1,000 berserk demons were standing at the front. From the demonic eye's record, one could clearly see that this 1,000 berserk demons were clearly elites, among which over 100 scarlet-blooded berserk demons stood as leaders, each one of them leading 9 ordinary berserk demon. Scarlet-blooded berserk demons have strength at the 6th step, and the most powerful of them can reach the 7th step. As for the elite berserk demons, they ought to be roughly at the 5th step of cultivation. In fact, berserk demons are an elite race. Among them, the total count of scarlet-blooded berserk demon totaled no more than 200. Their fighting strength on the ground wasn't simply limited to them being a valiant crew, but an unyielding group of soldiers until death. The Temple Alliance describes them generally as mad demon believers, making clear from this how valiant as a fighter they are. The 1,000-plus berserk demons aside, the real main force of these elite troops consisted some true powerhouses. First were the 500 demonic bears, of tremendous build, extraordinary strength and unpierceable defense. Even the most ordinary demonic bear was at the 6th step. To an army, having existences such as demonic bears was like equipping an extremely solid independent shield to its troops. Behind the demonic bears came 500 demons of a kind Long Haochen's group had never seen. These demons let out specks of light from their bodies, looked humanoid at first, but if one took special care, they would notice that their bodies were actually floating in midair, above the ground. Clad in cloaks, all their hands were grasping staves flickering in the same light as their bodies. What kind of demons are these? Wang Yuan asked in puzzlement. They shouldn't be star demons, right? They are all supposed to be clad in orange color, making them very easy to identify. Long Haochen's face became serious. These should be hell demons, experts in darkness magic. Among demons, the two pure magic-focused demon races are really powerful. The first is naturally the Star Demon clan, hailed as the most powerful clan of magic users. Relying on the Great Prophecy technique, their position among demons has never been swayed. But another powerful kind of magic-focused demons exists, and it's the Hell Demons, from the pure magic clan of the same name, that we are seeing before our eyes. Their chief is the fifth demon god currently, Hell Demon God Marbas, of majestic position within demons. In fact, among demon gods, one could say that the ones with real influence could be said to be the moon demon god Agaz, the star demon god Visago, the demon god of death Saminaga, and this hell demon god Marbas. I didn't expect this group of hell demons to show, and actually have over 500 members. They should be at least at the 6th step of cultivation, and there is bound to be some over this level among their ranks. 1,000 berserk demons, 500 demonic bears, hell demons, and then 3,000 grand fiends, led by another fiend, reaching 8 meters in height, with blood-colored wings on its back. At the time this powerful grand fiend appeared in the demonic eye's image, it stopped a second later. Clearly, the demonic eye feared getting discovered by him. Could that be a demon king-ranked fiend? Han Yu let out a gasp. Long Haochen silently nodded. Should be the case. Some say that the death demon god Saminaga has under his lead 4 grand fiend demon kings, while some say that there are 6 of them. All are powerhouses of the 9th step, treated as brothers by Saminaga. This troop is really too fearful. I cannot say whether we are lucky or not. Everyone naturally understood what Long Haochen's words meant. Their luck could be said to be good because they discovered this demon troop. At least they would have the opportunity to send a warning sign to the Templar Alliance. But what was there to warn them about? In front of this elite corps they only felt helpless. What could they do? The level of danger was, as one might well imagine, far surpassing their whole encounter in the Swamps of Gloom. The greatest danger in the Swamps of Gloom was the unknown. But the demons before their eyes were a real crushing threat. To say nothing about them, even a titled demon hunt squad would definitely not confront such a powerful and fearful demon troop head-on. Even with the strength of the demons, they would certainly at most be able to dispatch 10 elite troops of such scale. This was 5,000 of them, among whom both the long-distance attackers and close-quarters soldiers are from high-standing races. Even if their equipment could not compare to humans, their individual strength could only be described as terrifying, being an army reaching at least the 6th step. In fact, the humans could not possibly even gather 2 teams of this scale. Lin Xin wrinkled his brows. Are they looking to raid the Alliance from inside? If this army manages to enter the Alliance, I don't even dare imagine the consequences. Long Haochen nodded in silence. Han Yu informed Long Haochen, Captain, I have the information. This army is trying to avoid getting detected as they advance. I can certainly go faster by myself. I will be bringing the demonic eye with me. With his mental screen, I can surely reach the Exorcist Mountain Pass before them to call for reinforcements. At least, I will be able to inform the people defending the demon-resisting mountain range. I believe that they will have their own ways to inform the troops on the side of the Exorcist Mountain Pass. Long Haochen blinked and replied after pondering for a short time, okay. Then thanks for your trouble. Be extremely careful. We will be trying our utmost to buy you some time. Since such a powerful team already entered the demon-resisting mountain range, they could absolutely not waste any time. The earlier they informed the demon-resisting mountain range, the more favorable the situation would be for them. Thus, he made the prompt decision to immediately go with Han Yu's suggestion. Originally, the best candidate to go inform them should be Kia. Being an assassin, she certainly surpassed Han Yu in speed as well as concealing abilities. But the issue was that now that she had in her memories, the degree of uncertainty of letting her do this job was just too great. Long Haochen really didn't dare let her handle this task. Everything aside, what if she lost her way in the demon-resisting mountain range? Immediately after summoning the demonic eye, Han Yu immediately descended the mountain from the other side. Before he left, Lin Xin specially pressed him to accept a few bottles of spiritual energy recovering pills. It was very clear that Han Yu had to head for the demon-resisting mountain range at his fastest speed. This without a doubt would come with an enormous consumption to him. After Han Yu left, Long Haochen formed a circle with the others. This demon troop isn't anything we can possibly contend against. Not only us, but even the demon-resisting mountain range can honestly not. We are not experts in the aspects of military affairs or reinforcement transfers, so all we can do is to let the demon-resisting mountain range know about this attack as soon as possible. Han Yu will need time, so we will have to attack this problem from two angles at the same time. First, we have to force them to expose their whereabouts, and also delay them as much as we can. But this is without doubt extremely dangerous. Yinga, you will stay here and not participate in this operation. Lin Xin, the same goes for you. The two of you are mags, for whom escaping will be too hard. Kia will remain here to protect you too. Yuan and Simas Yan, you two will be covering the left and the right side, heading for high mountains on both sides. Take them by surprise, using your strength to cut through the mountain. Then with the rocks in the mountain, make some noise. The noisier the better. Then come back and regroup with Yinga and Lin Xin. I will be attacking them in close range, and see whether I can find the chance to kill these envoy demons. That won't do. Boss, it's too dangerous. Lin Xin said with almost no hesitation. Long Haochen's battle plans were spoken nonchalantly, but in fact, coming in close range to grab the attention of this demon army was no trivial matter. In fact, among their ranks were demon carriers. Their mucus fluid affected a large area. In case one gets hit, even with Long Haochen's cultivation, escape would be almost impossible. Hearing Lin Xin's words, Long Haochen's tone became strict. We are demon hunters, so braving danger is natural to us. And no one is more fitting than me for this task. Be at ease, I will have the help from the 4 holy guards and Yating. Hao Yue's strength is also back to 80%, and with the concealment from the Tower of Eternity, there's no way I'd be unable to escape. Furthermore, if I am only by myself, escaping will be even easier. So having me charge is the best option. I cannot let these demons enter the range of the Alliance no matter what. Otherwise, many people will surely be put in a terrible situation. Who knows how many of our compatriots will be harmed by these demons? Time is precious, we have to act with haste. Saying these words, Long Haochen took the initiative to press his way forward, only stepping on the rocks with the tip of his feet. As if he was gliding downward, his body remained in midair, with his spiritual energy restrained. Wang Yuan and Simas Yan glanced at each other, immediately heading down. Although they weren't as strong as Long Haochen, their speed was still a lot faster than when going up. Chen Yinga gloomily commented, and yet again I've no part to play in. I really feel more and more useless. Kia sat down beside her, and also started complaining, aren't I the same? He never brings me when doing these kind of things. He clearly thinks he's strong enough by himself. Seeing Kia throwing a tantrum of sorts, Chen Yinga's anger suddenly disappeared. Raising the corners of her mouth, she let out a laugh. Kia, I like seeing you like this. You're so cute. If I was a man, I would definitely go after you. Kia blinked her big eyes, looking at the direction where Long Haochen left, answering the point. He's really not going to be in danger, right? Lin Xin let out a mischievous laughter. Be at ease, it won't be the case. As boss said, having him go by himself is really going to be the safest. Vice Captain, I am realizing that you are showing more and more concern for him. Is it that your memories are resurfacing? Kia shook her head. I still can't remember. I just have the feeling that I somehow know him. And also, he's treating me so well. Being with him make me feel safe. Chen Yinga exclaimed lightly, I'm envy you. Compared to a certain someone, boss is really so much stronger. If I got to know him a bit younger, maybe I would have snatched him from you. Kia winked once more. You don't seem so capable of it though. Lin Xin had difficulty containing his laughter. Chen Yinga was staring with some surprise at Kia. However, seeing her pure beauty, she finally ended up discouraged. right? Who could possibly snatch Long Houchen from Kia's hands? Traveling from peak to peak, Long Houchen only felt as if he had become wind at this point, despite having not released his spiritual wings. Because the rays of light released from his spiritual wings were extremely bright, he would very easily be found out if he did, whereas he had to do his utmost to conceal his aura at this very moment. Over 10,000 units of spiritual energy was transferred at every breath Long Houchen took breath. As the 3 spiritual cavities in his body were absorbing light essence in the air, his body felt a lot lighter. But under the effects of the biting cold, his descent wasn't so fast, as he seemed to stick to the ground. A faint twisting light appeared on Long Houchen's forehead, looking close to the anti-probing protective barrier ability of the demonic eye. Long Houchen obviously didn't use any ability of mental type, but never forget about his exceptional mental force. Although he wasn't a powerhouse of mental type, thus making him unable to directly use mental force, given the extreme heights reached by his mental capacity, even a direct attack of the demonic eye's mental shock would not show much effect. Long Houchen wasn't able to use related techniques, but had the ability to transfer his powerful mental capacity, concentrating it all around his body, to form a layer of mental barrier. This was a different approach leading to the same result as the demonic eye's technique. However, as his mental capacity was entirely being used and covered the surroundings of his body, he was unable to use it to cover his surroundings. For this reason, this kind of method for using mental force could only be used to conceal himself when far away. Being a Templar Knight of the 7th step, being able to move unhindered in this mountain was naturally no issue to Long Houchen. Making sure to follow the path shown previously by the demonic eye, he pressed his way forward. Of course, going alone was a lot faster than when he was accompanied by a crew. As this short trip went on, the distance separating him and the demons gradually shrank. Because it was in the south, the vegetation present here was lesser, only composed of some low-height trees. Concealing only Long Houchen was perhaps feasible, but concealing an army of several thousand demons here would really be difficult. For this reason, when Long Houchen went through the 3rd mountain, he was already able to see the path the demons were taking with his exceptional eyesight. Looking from afar, these demon powerhouses seemed to be forming a locust shape, as they advanced at flying speed towards the demon-resisting mountain range. They really deserve being called demon elites. Their traveling speed was incredibly fast, also, they were extremely calm, not making any superfluous noise, nor any fluctuations from their spiritual energy, as they climbed by relying solely on their tyrannical physical constitutions. Without a doubt, the weakest in physical abilities within these demons were the hell demons, so they were carried and defended on the backs of the demonic bears, placed in the middle of their formation. However, in contrast with their weak physical constitutions, they had very powerful magic. Although he had never crossed swords with one before, Long Houchen was able to imagine the terrifying sight that would arise from a joint attack of this whole group of hell demons. Even if they were to attack the demon-resisting mountain range from the front, that would still cause terrible losses on the material defenses of the Exorcist mountain pass, or even damage the soldiers themselves. In group battle or city defense, mags would have the greatest impact. So among the fortifications of the 6 great temples, the Mage Temples is known as the hardest to break through. Fixing his eyes on the army's rapid advance, Long Houchen sunk into thought for a short time, before making his resolve very quickly. At least for the moment, he couldn't act yet. Seeing the demon army in such a neat formation, if he were to choose this time for a surprise attack, the demon carrier's mucus would perhaps instantly come. And that time, his only means of escape would be to borrow power from either Haoyue or the Tower of Eternity. Unless left without other options, causing a commotion in such a situation was out of question. So he had to wait for this elite army's formation to start becoming disorderly. That would be the time to strike. Of course, he wouldn't foolishly aim for those heavily protected hell demons. That would be making a huge overestimation of his own capabilities. The envoys and carriers in the sky were his targets. The fact that both were specialized at support was no reason to underestimate their utility. With their presence, the human mage scouts would be blinded, making them invisible to the human armies until reaching the point of contact. I need a plan. Long Houchen preserved a certain distance from the demon armies while following them from behind. Like that, they advanced together towards the demon-resisting mountain range. At the moment, they were already in the second half of the night. At most in 2 hours, the sun would start setting. But the night was moonless. This was the period right before dawn, which would often be the darkest of the day. As the sky was pitch black, it made it hard for them to find their way. Right at this time, a faint purple glint suddenly shone from afar. Long Houchen unconsciously gazed up to the sky, a smile drawn on his face. He knew that the opportunity he was waiting had come. This purple light caught the attention of the large demon army. This army of elites was extremely united, actually instantly coming to a total stop, immobilizing themselves. All the demons kept watch, and a moment later, dense smell of darkness filled the air thoroughly. Right at this moment, in the region lit up in purple, a loud band sounded out, seemingly swaying the whole demon-resisting mountain range. Immediately, series of rumbling bangs followed tightly, violently shaking the surroundings from that particular peak. In those faintly discernible glint of gold and purple color, one could see traces of great amount of rock dropping from the sky, falling down at mad speed towards the bottom of the mountains. Meanwhile, another mountain peak started to produce the same loud rumbling sounds, with a large amount of rocks falling down from the mountain. At this time, the demon armies were passing through a mountain cavity, so the falling stones were descending from peaks from both sides. Being just halfway through the path, they couldn't make it in time for escape. This was a situation where they could neither advance nor retreat. Although this was in the midst of the mountain, the peak and the bottom were separated by over 1 kilometer. The sudden appearance of these falling stones and their speed made their terrible power not the slightest inferior to the spell of the 6th step falling stones rain. However, this army of demon was really well trained. When suddenly targeted by such an attack, they still didn't show any signs of panic. All the hell demons gathered together, guarded singularly by all the demonic bears, making their pairings a good match. The berserk demons and fiends also showed response from their own sides. More precisely, a half of the fiends flew to the sky, intercepting the falling stones in the sky. At least with their act of smashing the rocks to pieces, their volume lessened. Also, another portion of the demons headed to the offense, directly flying to the two sides, at a very rapid speed. Without a doubt, it was Wang Yuan and Sima Xian that appeared on the two sides. They found it very difficult to find such a fitting location to get in move. Long Houchen didn't worry for their safety at all. Everyone having fought demons for so long together, obviously knew what to do. The demon-resisting mountain range was the best place possible to conceal themselves, relying on their spiritual stoves, equipment, and abilities. If the demons wanted to ambush them, things would be easier said than done. By retreating right after the moments of action, they wouldn't give the enemy any chance to surround them. Long Houchen also took advantage of the chance and closed the little gap behind. Swiftly summoning the 4 holy guards along, explaining to them the situation before their eyes as well as his objective, try your best to make the enemy conspicuous while delaying their advance. Among the 4 holy guards, the 3 last ranked all looked at the 9th holy guard, who looked back at the other 3 holy guards, before looking at Long Houchen. Master, what level of importance shall we attach to the task of delaying or killing these enemies? Long Houchen replied without hesitation, very, very important. The 9th holy guard nodded in response to him, before looking at the other 3 holy guards, saying in a heavy voice, then please let me borrow your strengths. Then he looked at Long Houchen once again, Master, this time, after helping you settling this issue, we will need to lie dormant for over a month, to recover from the consumption of soul force. Long Houchen had a great surprise. Right when he wanted to inquire about that, the other 3 holy guards started speaking in a sort of special language. Their movements were very organized. As soon as they started to surround the 9th holy guard, their bodies shivered violently, then the soul fire in their eyes pulsed intensely. With shock, Long Houchen saw creamy white color separate from their eyes and transfer into the 9th holy guard's body. The aura of the 3 holy guards weakened at an alarming speed, but conversely, the body of the 9th holy guard enlarged at a monstrous speed, almost taking a mere instant to break through from the peak of the 7th step to the 8th step, without stopping at all. This is after a short time of shock, Long Houchen realized that the 3 great holy guards were transferring their soul force to the 9th holy guard. And that wasn't an ordinary soul force, but the soul force in their very root. Otherwise, why would they weaken to such extent? A red glow of light took the initiative to return in the eternal melody. That was the 12th Holy Guard. Long Houchen immediately lost sight of his existence. It appeared to be as he said, he went in profound sleep. The 11th Holy Guard lasted only a little longer than the 12th, and then the 10th followed. The whole transfer took them only 10 seconds and no more. When the 3 great Holy Guards all disappeared, Long Houchen found to his shock that the 9th Holy Guard had undergone a heaven-splitting change. His body was the same size, but the orange soul fire pulsing in his eyes had acquired a faint golden gloss. Meanwhile, the milky white-colored bones seemed to have gained a flaming glow. Right after nodding to Long Houchen, his body soared, facing the direction of the mountain peak on the side. Disappearing in a blink of eye, he left Long Houchen only a message before that. That he would stall against these demons, and prevent them from covering the area between these 2 hills. Although he had no idea what the 9th Holy Guard was planning, Long Houchen had absolute belief in these Holy Guards' loyalty. Moreover, the 9th Holy Guard's action of drawing support from the other 3 Holy Guards' soul force couldn't possibly be a common technique. In a flash of light, Long Houchen summoned Yating to his side. Meanwhile, the falling stones finished falling from the sky, and Simas Yan as well as Wang Yuan already withdrew. After finding out about the disappearance of the danger, this army of demons was bound to continue advancing. To them, this was nothing more than having gotten caught by the Temple Alliance. But since they were already so deep inside the demon-resisting mountain range, they couldn't retreat as if nothing happened. After all, even if these elites couldn't surprise the Exorcist mountain pass with their attack, the Alliance would definitely not be able to block their advance easily. It was for this reason that Long Houchen wanted to delay them, and for that, he had to make these demons feel they are under threat. Only this way would he be able to force them into a defensive formation. After exchanging a few simple words with Yating, Long Houchen disappeared in a flash, appearing behind Yating. Placing his hands on her back, he poured his extremely pure light elemental spiritual energy into her body. This was Brilliant World, an ability that not only Yating could use, but Long Houchen too. Long Houchen was a knight, not a mage, and although he was able to use light magic, most of them were support-oriented. Even if these could be of use in battle, it would only be magic targeted at influencing himself, and couldn't be long-ranged attacks. Otherwise, wouldn't knights just be strong in every era? But Yating wasn't the same. Being a light fairy, she was a light mage through and through. Her affinity to light far surpassed a human mage's. And from the large amount of vitality she absorbed in the illusory paradise, plus her fusion with Long Houchen's Saint Spiritual Stove, Yating already evolved close to the level of an advanced fairy. Her strength kept increasing along with Long Houchen's cultivation, because she lived in Long Houchen's spiritual cavities. And she could also be said to be half the reason for Long Houchen's speed of cultivation. Just like Yating reached the 7th step of cultivation because of Long Houchen's help, her ability of condensing light essence went into a whole new level. Slowly lifting her staff, she caused the surroundings to lit up. Resonant chants were let out from her mouth, like a carefree and relaxed touching music. The fluctuations of Long Houchen's and Yating's spiritual energies rapidly gained in intensity. His golden eyes also became more and more brilliant, the 4 wings on his back spreading out. At this time, he didn't have any more need to conceal himself. His spiritual wings and Yating's lightly flapped, and in this state, their absorption speed of the light essence reached a colossal level. How could the gathering of an incomparable amount of intense light essence not attract the attention of the demons? Almost immediately, the carriers and the envoys in the sky discovered the activity going on there. The envoys let out sharp hisses as warning, and immediately, a group of 20 grand fiends led by a fiend commander of the 8th step came by flight in their direction. With a fiend commander of the 8th step as commander, the group of grand fiends of the 5th step was no weaker than the one Long Houchen's group encountered in the desolate hissing cavern, and moreover, they had plenty of room to get reinforcement. The enemy's actions were naturally perceived by Long Houchen, but he didn't show the slightest reaction. Remaining inattentive to the enemy, he poured his spiritual energy into Yating's body. Now, what he had to do was to do everything to support Yating in completing this spell. The current Yating looked ethereal, like a bottomless pit, and even Long Houchen was totally unaware of what her fairy language incantation was for. But he was certain that this was a spell Yating had never used before. As for its level of power, there was no way to know before Yating completes it. But his confidence toward the holy gods as well as her was absolute. Long Houchen's location was about 2,000 meters away from the Fiend army. Although this wasn't a very close distance, the flying fiends didn't need much time to cover it. And furthermore, the fiends weren't the only one to come by flight. They were followed by a demon carrier, to restrict Long Houchen. After all, Long Houchen was at the ground level. Unlike Wang Yuan and Sima Xian, who had it really easy to escape atop the mountain, and only had to pierce through the rocks in their way while borrowing power from their spiritual wings to make themselves very hard to pursue. The demon carrier's speed was also limited. Visibly, the enemy had already gotten quite close. Long Houchen narrowed his eyes, showing the qualities of a Templar knight as well as the calm of a demon hunt squad captain. At this very moment, in Long Houchen's senses the location of every single demon appeared very clearly. Even the way they were prepared to attack appeared very clear to him. While lifting up his two hands concentrating the power from brilliant body, a dense orange glow rushed forth before him, almost instantly covering Yating and him in its scope. That was the powerful Guard Knight defensive skill, Shield Wall. Despite being the same skill, the defense this time was not the same as the time Long Houchen used it for the first time in the Swamps of Gloom. The time they were there, he had to protect the whole team, but now, the only ones he had to defend were Yating and himself. The orange shield seemed to appear only on two sides, just like an immense shell, protecting the two of them. An orange luster came out from its center, and if one looked by afar, he would feel that the current divine snail shield of sun and moon felt as if an orange color was inlaid within. The first attacks to reach weren't the fiends, but the demon carrier's mucus, bringing about a strong stench of green mucus in large scale, which rapidly covered 1,000 meters range. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.